Alright, we are live. Time to get us a Ripple Rookie Spotlight stream. Let's just switch to the Blood Bowl screen. Double check my pen tool real quick. Yep, it's working. Wonderful. Nice first. Have things working on the first try. And let's see what we have here today. We have a couple minors games, followed by a Entitus, Sine Wave. Everybody knows them. Everybody loves them. We're going to look at one of their old college games. It'll be a lot of fun. So right now, we have a Dark Elf game versus some Chaos. And the scoreline was pretty rough for one of the teams. Yes, it was you, Glava. Hey, Ratchet. If it isn't all the volunteers filing in. Had a nice break last week because I had to go to a doctor's appointment. But now we're back. We're going to look at some Blood Bowl games. Going to have a good time. Hope y'all are doing well. Oh, good news? You have good news? Let's hear it. It's a lot of Mighty Blow. 2 bench on a Chaos team. That's pretty solid. No bench for Glava. First day in 3 weeks when you can talk. Blitz is really good. Have you been having... Ooh, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. I'm glad to hear it. Okay. I see how this game started now. What's got you messed up, my friend? Long to talk. Fair enough. Fair enough. Chronic illness, that's fair. I feel you. I feel you. Glad to hear that, though. That's really encouraging. Glava. Does it go like this the entire game? This is starting to look like my game with Ellie yesterday. Oh, I diced her to pieces. She failed like 3 dice. I caught the ball in a tackle zone off of a double rebound. Honestly, I wouldn't have even hated the score there, but you are in no pressure to do so this turn. But if you wanted to just score there to secure it, I would not have hated that. Yeah, Death Reigns. It's definitely first couple turns, isn't it? Well, technically, it's the first turn. If you don't count the blitz. Also, Glava, you have an assassin. I'm sure you know exactly... I'm sure you know that's a suboptimal piece. Just gonna let the college folks know that as well, in case they watch the VODs. Suboptimal piece, but if you like it, you like it. That's fine. Yeah, I know, Glava. I've been watching your games. Really like this agility piece. Oh yeah, I'm not knocking the memes. They are that, though. They are memes. I just caught the joke that Alter Sage made to me like a year and some time ago about if the admins threaten to send assassins after me, like Dark Elf assassins, I am perfectly safe. I was looking for something, I saw that, and it was finally funny. Oh no! One reroll for Rrs. Wow, that was fast. And I'm assuming here you just go ahead and take the score. Actually, yeah. You know what? You have enough players, you could probably stall this if you wanted. But I would take the score there too. But I'm assuming you were moving pieces, seeing, can I stall this? Calculate. Nah. I don't blame you. It's one of those things, right? You basically did a reverse 2-1 grind right there. Now, the Chaos have to score twice in order to have a solid chance, in order to win. You just need to force them to have a slow score and then have an 8-turn drive, and that's like standard victory right there. This is very good. Because, like, honestly, in order to get much value out of stalling, you would have had to stall for several turns. So, you know, if you ever steal the ball early on in the drive, heavily consider scoring as early as possible. You might be able to actually force a fast score from the Chaos, and then get a score and be 2-1 going into your own offense. So one of those heavily depends on how much pressure you're able to exert. Don't hate the dodge. You need to get your player free. I must say, Glove, your play has gotten pretty clean since I've been watching you. Something you used to lose your whole team every game, and now you only lose half of them. Hashtag elf life. I don't hate this. This isn't a elf screen where they're gonna blitz you and then base all your dudes, most likely. That's a little sad. Probably just let him die. He's got a perm, yeah. I agree with that completely. Though, I would be careful with this. If I were the Chaos, I'm going to break out the pen tool now, I would do something like this. Come in here, blitz this dude, knock him out of the way, and follow up onto the assassin. If this is a knockdown, and I would just start bringing in my boys wherever they can fit. So just be aware, standard, if your elf screen gets attacked, you may suffer a lot of attrition and all that jazz. Which you've gone from trying to do the elf screen for 8 turns to using it very, very carefully, and I think you've been using it a lot more situationally, which is great. Yeah, you do have a lot of dodge, and they have no tackle, but it is something to be aware of. Especially if you end up outnumbered and you try to do an elf screen and your opponent just bases up everything, gets around them, makes it, instead of 2+ dodges, makes it 3+. I like that foul. We've got a bench. Need to remove elves to be in contention for a win. Yeah, it does open that possibility. So it may not be true for this game, but that's usually what I'm looking to do as a bash coach against an elf screen. So I just like to offer that tidbit because I just absolutely bash my way through elf screens. You got good coverage. You don't have to aggress too hard. You just have to pressure the ball enough that they can't progress forward too much. You're keeping strong control of the center here at the moment. I like what you're doing. And I like what Rrs is doing, basing up heavily, trying to get you trapped. If a dodge fails or anything fails, and you get free punches as a chaos, splendid. Keeping the removal train going, yeah. Wow, you're already down 4. So it's 11-7. Running forwards, trying to get a fast score, maybe turn over and score again? Or just get in position to do damage with the ball protected in the backfield. Both of those are good options. Oh no, I'm excited. I like a lot what I'm seeing from both coaches, but I do think I need that to go away. I do think that there is a possibility for like 3+, 2+ run around here. It looks like because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you could skimp another one if you still have the dodge somehow. So there is technically a chance for the ball to be sacked on like 3+ and some 2+. Just be aware of that. And there's probably some other ways. Getting blood step on the ball carrier, I like that. For the assist on the... Oh, yeah. This is good. Very good. That's niggled, isn't it? Yeah. Did the niggle matter? No, but it almost did. One more on that roll, and that would have been a Kaz, and that would have been amazing. Honestly, that was a great time to pressure. Oh no. The dreaded triple skull. This is good so far. You were down 4 players and still have amazing pressure on this ball the entire game. Granted, you got an amazing blitz, so makes it a little easier. But still, you've done very good at aggressing the ball, aggressing on the cage. Pressure. That's not to say Rrs has done bad. Just Rrs is forced to play more aggressive than Chaos ever wants to, which is anything that's not a typical 2-1 grind. And it puts a lot of pressure on Chaos to do things that are not just punching you in the face, which is what Chaos wants to do. And hi Sage, how you doing? High Cage does not stop the... That was a reroll. I don't hate that reroll. It is very aggressive, though. Bunk. Chaos have 2 turns to score. You have some blood step in there. Yeah, it's a unfortunate situation because the Chaos got blitzed and scored on turn 2. And they're being forced to play really aggressively against Leaper, movement up, really like blodge step and without any tackle. And it can get very difficult. But the Chaos are up 4 removals. So this is the type of game where if you're able to stabilize, it might not be too bad. You might be able to come back with a 2-1 victory as the Chaos. But if you keep rolling triple skulls and push city, it gets much harder. And especially if this Dark Elf gets away. Is that scoring range? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, it is not. Something always get a scoring threat, but I assume that's what this person's going to do. You're going to bring the blitzer up. No? And even if you don't get in scoring range, as long as you manage to keep the ball, this is great. Not dodging the goat. Okay, let me go back and look where you're seeing. So not dodging this goat. Yeah, it makes it slightly harder. Yeah, actually, that makes it a lot harder. Because right now, you've got... that's not exactly what I want, but we'll... How do I get rid of the arrow? Okay. Because right now, this guard piece can't easily come over here without using the hit here. But then you just punch, you get a push. This goes here. Have a goat here still if it's a push. Yeah, I think keeping the block goat there was the correct choice. I think that's a good spot. Good spot. So let's go back a little bit. Pressure on the Chaos to get a sack. Needs a pal. Doesn't get it. Doesn't push them forward, so they can't really score. But you can no longer score in your own drive. And now we're getting into danger of setting up a chain push for the Dark Elves. So you cut off the players, keep them based, prevent them from being able to dodge super easily. And now there is a chain push opportunity for the Dark Elves. So if we look here real quick. Yeah, it means you got to throw more dice without a reroll, was more the thinking. But by putting a player right here, what you have done is you have made a T-shape on the side here, which is much easier to go for a one-die chain push than if you had to also find another player to put in there. It's just something to think about. Try to think about potential chain pushes, especially on turn 8s, turn 7s. Yep. Very good spot, Clava. And don't feel too bad if you ever do that on accident. I did that just last week. Accidentally gave a chain push that almost lost me a game. I got scammed. They got scammed out of it by failing on a 2+ GFI, I think. But it happens. It happens. But yeah, Clava, good spot. Good spot. Let's bring some skills back up. Bringing up full skills for the rookies. Yeah, you got a little lucky on that half. The blitz, no one can really prevent a blitz. All you can do is mitigate how bad it'll be. Especially, though, against a Blodge Movement 8 blitzer, it can be hard to prevent. Oh, thank you. I wouldn't even say that. Sometimes it's if you have one elf on the field, you score. You're coming in here, 4 players down. That was the most boring pitch invasion I've ever seen. What in the world? Like, one player went down. It was like one that didn't matter. You get a 0 success pitch. Oh, that's even funnier. I think that rerolls a little aggressive, unless you're going for something immediately. Just a very friendly crowd. How you doing, Karma? Long time no see. I like this. Getting up on the ball. Applying pressure. Oh, yeah. Aggressively going for the 3-0, I 100% agree with. Like, I don't hate this player. This causes somebody to have to go back, at least one person. Sometimes it forces the blitz back there, and if they're blitzing backwards, they're not blitzing the ball. Another thing you could have done, though, is instead of going deep, trying for a quick score, you could have brought the ball backwards. Force the chaos to come to you, because you're 2-0. They have to come to you, or they do not win the game or tie the game, right? So if you come back and then try to basically do a DACA and run around them, or bring the ball carrier back maybe with one defender, but you're short on players, so maybe no defenders. Once 1 or 2 players breaks through to try and come and get you, you eat the ball down and you run around that way. But I didn't hate this idea. 3+ and you just run it in, yeah? Which is move bust. Ah, she is. You're right. Yeah, and now you just get to stall. Very solid. I'm assuming. Well, I'm just gonna skim through the rest of this because this is a decided game at this point. And I honestly don't think there was much Archers could have done except at some point had a tackle piece, but tackle pieces get targeted and they get removed and they die against elves. So he's probably had a tackle piece or 2 at some point, and they just haven't lasted. Takes some hits, try to protect the ball. It's going to be a slow advance up the pitch. Lava deploys an elf screen. It gets punched. It's getting based up as it should be. Progress the cage. Base the elves. Yeah, this was a Miners game. Yeah, we do have some sort of that there content. Got a whole 1 or 2 content. Based up. Keep pushing. Might as well at this point go for the handoff. Get a touchdown on a warrior. Don't hate that. Yeah, absolutely. You did that very well. That's why I'm just skimming through it. Because you were just stalling, and the Chaos are just trying to get the SPP. 100% in the bag game. And even here, they could steal the ball. You don't care. You just had to run away or try to score. Like, yeah, because elf screens are good for what? They're good for buying 2 or 3 turns. And if you buy 2 or 3 turns, there's no way they're going to score 3 times. Yeah, we fished for some SPP. And a touchdown on a warrior, you're feeling okay after that. You know, you lost to elves at picking up the ball. Happens. But Artrez probably not too upset about this game. Got some SPP out of it. Killed an elf. All that good stuff. So let's look at what other replays I got on the list. Let's see. I had Mighty Crab versus Ratchet next. That should be this one. And I believe I saw a little bit of this game. And it's always fun watching Ratchet's games because I feel like they always divulge into some sort of pow fest. What's the docket for this stream anyways? I stole some minors games that I thought would be interesting to look at. And then we're going to look at one of your old college games. This was started as Palfest, ended as Clown Fiesta. It's amazing. Like, I always, like, join the Discord stream halfway through one of your games, and it's always just a sea of bodies or just, how did the board state get to here? Open sides on chevrons is fine. It just really depends what you're trying to do. It gives up sideline control, but with the Bretonnians being faster than most other teams, that's a start to a game. Because here's the thing. Pro Elves are going to break through your defense and score either on turn 8, or they're going to break through and score on, like, turn 2. So, really, against Pro Elves, you kind of just want to force them to score fast rather than trying to stop them, then break through anyways. Exactly, and if they try to go down the sidelines immediately, you have a lot of pressure on them, and they're forced to score early. It's great. I love this catcher, by the way. Mighty Blow Jugs. Yeah, but, you know, something's going to be exposed. Kind of difficult. Score fast into Wizard. Yeah. Score fast into Wizard for the pros is always an option. Pros are an amazing scoring team. And this is really good screening and pressure from the Pro Elves. Catcher can still run back if need be. So, like, the Pro Elves aren't even committed yet. Ooh, I will gladly take your finals match replay. And Titus had sent me a bunch of replays from their college season that were pretty fun. I've not looked at them. I want to watch them for the first time on stream. That'll be the most fun for me. So I'm trying to get a little bit of backlog. That way I can always have just enough games, you know? So especially like if you've got old minors games, old college games, send me a couple of the ones you were most impressed or most disappointed about. Yeah, that'd be perfect. That'd be great. Yep. And honestly, thrower can come back if you feel pressured. That is a very fast blitzer, though, and you risk getting split off from your team as the Pro Elves. I know I have one where I followed a block and prevented myself from getting a tie or a win because of it, because I caught the ball. There you go. I'll just review Michael's games every week and be like, yeah, don't do this. Like, how'd this guy win a Super Bowl? Nerves of Steel is fun, and this is fine too. I always forget about Nerves of Steel. Ugh. All right, this is Michael's game number 305. Still don't know how he's playing Blood Bowl. He really should just give up at it at this point. All right, I want to see what Ratchet does to counter. Because there is a wizard in play. Ratchet has only had one turn. You want to score, and you want to prevent a turnover. Maybe bait out the wizard as well. You roll a lot of punches. That's fair. That's fair. You have a Mighty Blow against Pro Elves. And they are also Pro Elves. You got some good stat ups on your blitzers as well. This is a 3-die. I like it. It's a depressing 3-die, but a 3-die nonetheless. Oh, did your Mighty Blow tackle die? That's a shame. I know I've seen other people, they turn one of the blockers into a killer instead of the knights. So you get a blocker, you give them Mighty Blow piling on, then tackle, and then you could even go into block after that as a fourth skill. But the wrestle makes it a little funky. Elves are doing a good job searching for some way. Force you wider. Playing very wide Pro Elves with a wizard just lets you look for so many weird sack angles with the Wiz. Oh yeah, they both have bribes. And yeah, I would be fouling like crazy. Every Pro Elf removal is massive. Yeah, the bribe event on turn 1. You're a weird sack angle. I am. You've caught me. Uh-oh. Kicker's going to demonstrate how short of a lifespan they have. Sidestep is a good skill. Oh, that's really good. Dub 6 is, though, a little annoying. Bribe goes off, but it did its job. Where's the ball go? Right there? I almost feel like there's a fireball here on these 4 players. Maybe not exactly, but it felt like it. No. Not with the stand firm. I stand corrected. Jug's doing a great job. Yeah, you could have gone for it there. I just think that it's hard to have enough people after you recover the ball to prevent it from being returned to the original owner. Like, you bolt it, you go, you run up, you pick it up, but it might be hard to get around enough defenders after that. Frenzy before block. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Yep. Yep. Don't use wrestle, so you turn over early in the turn. I like that. Now I would be throwing a wizard, retrieving the ball. I do think this was a missed opportunity. You could either bolt the ball carrier and pick up the ball. You could fireball these 4 players and flood the field. I think that was a big turn for a wizard. Yeah, I think that was a misplay. Oh, he forgot about the wizard? That's fair. That's fair. Some removal? How did I end up looking from the pro point of view? I don't think I pressed the button. Okay, you get defended. You're having a loose cage, so it's not just fireballed immediately. Good, good. Down 2. Down 2. Are you still foul fishing? Wrestler? No, the blitzer. I don't hate it. That foul's not the worst. That is a positional, you know? But I think that going for the wrestler might have been more important here because I was already stunned. That bolt was sad. If you had a dirty player, it's way more understandable. But in this case, I think you're without a dirty player, you're usually just fouling for stuns, in my opinion. Unless they have a niggle. Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. It's very debatable. Like, it's a play style thing more than a right or wrong. That was a sad dodge. M&G? Oh no. The dub skulls. Wild. You are ahead on players already, so it really wasn't the worst foul. And it was, you know, the 7+ foul, as you should aim for. Yeah, and I think I'm seeing what Titus is talking about, sine wave. Here, before you take this hit, you probably want to move the ball carrier. Just because you can get into some shenanigans. But, you know, I do that too because punch, punch, unga bunga. Yeah, sine wave's right on that one. That's easier to say though when we get to see the result of the double skull. Changed your mind what to do 7 times a turn. That's fair. That's fair. Especially when you're facing something when you're playing with a lot of skills on your team or the opponent team. Like, the goal of the turn changes frequently. I wasn't a fan of that reroll. I'll be honest. This is mostly fine. Sidestepper should be pretty stuck where they can go now. Are you just going to straight dodge off of the tackle piece? Ball should be mostly safe, yeah. You had plenty of players surrounding it. Yeah, just as long as you know that if that 3+ had failed, it could have been really, really spicy. Like, I think I would have rather just moved a player or two and get the guaranteed knockoff. Yeah, okay. As long as you're aware. Oh, yeah. Glava, that's actually a great idea. You should do a how to get the sidestepper off from me for your little weekly thing. Or something like that about how do I get rid of some annoyance? That'd be nice. Those have been very good, by the way. I've been really enjoying them. You know? If it works, it works. But that was a 4+. Yeah, I get you. And you're doing like more abstract stuff as well. How to do that and still have an effective screen? That's fair. You know, it's not a brain fart if it works. It's like, what was it? Bumble Snoot's 6+6+ Croxagore dodge that had 0 benefit. Yeah, that was fine. I didn't hate it. A blitz. Pros and blitzes. Name a more brain fart. Isn't Tweedlebum also Bumblesnoot in the Discord though? In the Rebler Discord? Oh no, okay, it's Chimera who's Bumblesnoot. Okay. Can you imagine having like 4 aliases for your online community and making it hard to keep track of? Psh. Yeah, you can. That's fair. That was almost. You know, Ratchet, I think that when I throw block dice, I try to roll anything besides ones. I find it really helps. Really helps with my game progress. Okay, ball is retrieved. There is a very scary catcher up here still, though. Oh no! I really liked that play too, because you gotta deal with that catcher. Like, yeah, that was tragic. I think the naked block here is a little bit of turn ordering stuff, unless you're trying to bring. Okay, that makes sense. Can go for GFI GFI if you wanted to. Can no longer go for that. And he's out of the pitch. Okay, so the dub skulls were paid for with a 1 in 36 GFI. I do think that Mighty Crab seems to have forgot about his own bribe. Yeah, honestly, I might have just gone for the 1 in 6 1 die after a 1 in 36 dodge. It's just stunty. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that there might have been a chance or two to foul something for the Pro Elves, but it can be hard when you're down in numbers and your elves, which tend to play pretty split up. So maybe there hasn't been any good fouls, but maybe even on just a peasant. Yeah, that catcher is a strip ball and wrestle. It's very good. Uh-oh. It's fine. Still got the Apo. Oh yeah, that is sure hands. Forgot about that. Definitely forgot about sure hands. Running out of elves. Three die with. Yep, with wrestle. I like this. now, this is a good vow. I like this. Gotta make sure that you just plug this one hole with one activation. You can even take the blitz there. Just rolling PAL is also an option. Take the splits through. Develop another hit. I think I actually would have been fine not developing a peasant hit, so you can just have more defenders for the ball. But this is definitely something you can do. Strength 4 peasant's going to be massive when he gets a like block. This peasant looks like you may have forgot about him because he's hidden. I would have maybe moved him first unless you're fouling with him. That's fair. That's fair. As long as you had a plan, that's A-okay. This peasant will never make it to block. Yeah, maybe not. But the dream is there. Strength pieces always turn into a project piece, you know? And then they die, and then you never get another stat up, and you realize that your best player had only rolled normal skills and died. Yes, I'm still sad about losing my Chaos Warrior in playoffs. Thank you for asking. He's AV7 with a target on his back. That's what he is. Okay, invert your screen. I like that. Just run back. Like, you've got no pressure here. Are you setting up another foul? Just pitch clear everybody? I feel that I had a movement bust Beastman that I wanted to die for like 12 games, but he kept getting MVP, and then he got wrestle, and so then he's still on line of scrimmage duty, but he does it slightly better, and then he leveled again, and I just gave him Fend, and he played for like 25 games after I wanted him to die. He finally died. It made me happy. Protect the peasants at all cost. No, there are no cookies here. Only pain and sadness. This is a very strange offense, but there's only like 5 elves on the field, so I'll allow it. This makes much more sense. And I'm assuming you just abuse elves until you win the game. Sack attempt occurs. That's amazing. Yep. Abuse some elves and win the game? Yeah. Pro Elves don't really have enough players to one turn, I don't think. Would need 3 pushes. And without sidestep, I think this is like almost impossible. Or it might actually be impossible. No one turn was made. That's fair. We'll go on to the next one then. Riot says I. Yeah, that's very true. Let's see. And then we had the Woody's game versus the Rats. Should be this one. Now, I was interested to look at this one. I'm pretty sure the Woodies lose like over half their team, but still manage the 2-1. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You know, it's got 2 fastest teams in the game, and it's a 2-1. See what we got here. We got good Storm Vermin, good Storm Vermin, amazing Gutter Runners, amazing Line Rats, a kicker. The score should be like 12-34. What is going on here? Oh, no. I was going to give it a serious analysis, recognizing that it's from a while ago. Just the fact that it's a college game when there haven't been college games to look at yet is great. Yeah, I'm excited. Like, I wasn't just going to rag on you. Like, nah. Okay, Woody's got a nice side defense going on. This is pretty standard setup against other Agi. That's a really good first hit. And 10 for the entire game. Hopefully we get into some stuff where we have to pause and look at things. We'll do that a lot more for Entitus flashback game. Going for SPP already. That's greedy. Unless it was a misclick, but I assume it was SPP. Yeah, Agi 5 Natty incoming. One more level and... ugh. I'm going against Cheezix is Agi 5 Natty this week in the main league. And I am terrified. But they only have 11 players, so I should be able to force it into uncomfortable positions and maybe kill the Natty. I mean, try to tie the game. Till cheese is past their bedtime. Uh, Widows are doing good pressure, keeping players back just in case. It's very important whenever you're playing against ridiculously fast pieces to make sure you have players far enough back to reach their GFI range. So right now, this can go 10 squares, 12 squares, all the way to here. So you need to keep a couple players back to be able to contest it. And whatever defender manages to break through as well. It's much easier to do that as a Wood Elf team than as a Chaos team or a Khemri team. This War Dancer is in trouble if they don't get busted out this turn. Main thing I think so far is that Raptor should not have gone for the Vanity Pass, just because two teams you don't want to have the ball on the ground against. Rats and Wood Elves. Preventing leap could have been decent, yeah. Honestly, just score. Uh-oh. Yeah, you score. You have a wizard, and you score without it. You set yourself up for a... If this wasn't Rats, this would be a pretty secured game right there. Yeah, rather than meat cubing around the Word Answer. So what you're saying is do something like Word Answer's here. I don't like that color. Going to change to a different one. Word Answer's there. Get some rats in the leaping zones. Whatnot. And not all of these, but generally, some too wide spaces to prevent leaps. Make them harder. I can agree with that for sure. Offset defense again, this time with one less elf. I think I would actually take from the sideline and put over here, because otherwise you'll have 6 players out of position instead of closer on the other sideline. And I think giving the Mighty Blow a hit there is fine. I almost would rather see the Mighty Blow hit like the kicker. Kill the kicker and makes the game easier. Yeah. I agree. Prevent it directionally the worst way, then make the dodge harder. Because they'll still go for the dodge, most likely. It's usually better to go for a dodge than waste a team reroll this early in a drive. And if they do use a reroll to get out, that's A-okay. I think the Vanity was a little greedy again. I don't think that ball is safe. Not going for it this turn. Dropping back to cover the backfield against the gutter runner. Fill up that hole, nice. Force the mighty blow onto the lino, dictating where the hit's likely going to go. Rats do need to protect the ball a good bit this turn. What else just need to tighten around the rats, make it harder and harder to screen. Throw down the wizard, steal the ball, and score again. Rats need to try and keep the game as spread out as possible while keeping the ball safe from a wizard retrieval play. And this is starting to look like it's going to be some sort of standard cage play. But you could honestly just run the ball backwards here. And the ball is pretty safe. Word answers are really far back. Like I wouldn't put the ball here. Like I would throw down the wizard here as the what else? Steal the ball and score again? Like, I would have fireballed right here, personally. You know, that's also a play. I remember that word answers have leap now. I do think that the Rats should have just dropped the ball back. The ball carrier has movement 10, and you're not going for a score next turn. You have gutter runners in scoring range already. Don't need to have the ball up here exposed. That's sad. That's a guard elf. That's the Apo. That's an MNG. Yeah, I think the reroll on the word answer both down was not my favorite. Elves are in a really good position on this turn. It's a good hit. Scatter the ball. If an elf catches it, great. If a rat catches it, it's not terrible. Now you break free with the ward answer. Run the ball past the rats, maybe? Or you can just take the ball away from the rats, but they're faster than you. Because this is a catcher. Strength 2. Gutter runners are a real threat right here. Yep. Ball's not safe. There's a hole right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You just no GFI blitz. And the gutter runner is just going to take the hit. 2 dice with tackle and block. And this word answer is in scoring range, right? Yeah. He's got 10. He's already 12, 11, 10. He's 1 GFI away. fair teams like Dark Elves. That's right. Nice, fair teams, like things that punch things and things that get punched. Yeah, this is a bit of a turn ordering fiasco. I think that wizard's okay, but I think there were better ones if that's the one you were going to take. I think there were already better opportunities for wizards. Bring an assist, blitz through. That was not a blitz. Yeah, I think this match has been a little strange. I think there have been better ways to do the same things that have occurred, but safer or with better success or failure states. Yeah, that definitely felt like a forget to blitz. Which happens, you know. That is a very free touchdown. That had to be a misclick. I just now realized that was a push skull. That was definitely a misclick. And at the tackle, you know, this is a very, very interesting set of dice going on here. Rats cannot even score, can they? 13, 12, 11. One square. No, you're in range. You're in range. But you had to be able to pick up the ball to hand it off or throw it. So not actually in range. And now the Wood Elf's turn to try and get the score, right? Take the skull to flex with tackle. Strategic genius. I'm not sure I agree with taking this hit. I think I'd rather just go for the touchdown play with the agility 5. I mean, granted, you just roll some ones and that doesn't work either, but scoring is preferable to not scoring. Hey, Valdor. Yeah, this isn't very... I think it's easier to be critical of agility games, because I think it's easier to make suboptimal plays with agility plays than it is bash plays. There's only so many ways you can punch things and be wrong. So it's easy to be critical, so it's important to keep that in mind while commentating on games like this. Valdor, you have just missed a little bit of spectating volunteer games, quote-unquote volunteer, a.k.a. anything that I thought would look interesting. I'm making sure to map out every way to be wrong on agility. Well, Glava, you're doing a great job. Oh, that's funny. On a mission to find all the ways of punching people wrong. If you want to know how to punch people wrong, Ellie had a game against me in Upstarts yesterday, where she rolled like 4 or 5 triple skull blocks. It was heartbreaking to watch. We're going to learn everything not to do as fast as possible. Oh no, I definitely thought it was funny, but it was heartbreaking to watch watch somebody suffer through that. Oh yep. The bounce falling into my hands. It was just perfect clip. I love it so much. And then Ellie, are you fucking kidding me? Oh yeah, I definitely committed admin abuse. She took it in stride, though. Not a fan of the naked block before trying to secure the ball as elves. Especially against rats. If that ball wasn't picked up, it's... or at least given some protection, it's really wonky. And, really loves passing after the reroll's already used. I'm really not a fan of that. Could have just as easily waited for the play or gone for a handoff. And we're just seeing all the double skulls this week on Rookie Spotlight. Try rolling less ones, yeah. Honestly, if I could almost convince people that I just decide what games I'm going to look at by looking up how many skulls were thrown. Valdor, there is a sheet in the weekly recap thread of the Rookie League Discord. It's pinned, it's right at the top, and it tells you exactly how to do it. If it's a Rebel game, you just put it on the sheet with a link to the Rebel match thing. If it's not a Rebel game, you just send me a DM with the file, and I give a step-by-step guide on how to do it. If you need help, send me a DM. I'll help you get me a replay in if you want it looked at. I like your blitz, G. Nice little leap sack play. If this fails again, we might be... Oh, did Ward answer? No, not quite. It's just the worst version of cookies and elves dying. I like that. I sympathize with this a lot. Disappointing levels of elf murder. They still have players on the pitch. Oh, is that a perm? No, he's alive. I have successfully cultivated the most humorous group of kindergartners. Would you ever power Appo that? No, because he doesn't have the Appo. Otherwise, yes. If the Appo wasn't used earlier on a dead guard, I would have Appo'd that. I would have, definitely. There's only one Mighty Blow on the Rat team, and as long as you start to play a little more carefully, all your people won't die. And now I do want to go back and pause right here. There's a very important thing that some players miss, is when you're going for a GFI's, sack, whatever, so if your blitzer falls down right here, you have no pressure on this ball. You really want to bring someone else around just to apply pressure. Even better if you can bring a second. You just want to make sure that even if the blitz fails, you put enough pressure to try and force a score. Because if the blitz fails and you have no pressure, it's just another turn or 2 or 3 of free stalling. Let's all say it at once. Hashtag turn ordering. I need to get a soundbite for turn ordering. Is my soundbot even working at the moment? Like, let me see.
Casualty.
Yep, taking the action in segments allows you to choose when to stop it. But in all fairness, if you do that, you don't have a nice, clean animation that looks really cool if it all succeeds. So really, it's like a 50-50. I don't think my sound bites are working, are they? That's a quick snap. Oh, they work? Okay, I just couldn't hear it. Is it like really quiet? Or is that just my end? Yeah, stacking the line as rats would be good. Getting more pressure. Like, you play like an orc defense, right? And you get like your line of scrimmage and a couple either way. Okay, it's just my end. That's good. 10 points to Gryffindor if you know what game that soundbite was from. Okay, and then you run it behind a screen. Good. I like this. That felt like the running path. Yeah, I felt like this was just a sack on the ball. Because if you don't sack it, it's just scored. Yep. Keep sacking pieces towards the center. Unless you have multiple and you're, like, pressuring both sides. So if you have, like, 2 rackle pieces, you can have one over here and one over here. And that's still a lot of pressure on the center. Yep, and you go for it. Yep. Yeah, and that's why I think that this should have just been a sack on the ball. Because you have 2 rats. You don't want to set up for the score yet. You want to get the ball first. See if you can keep it. There's only 6 elves, 5 elves, or however many were on the pitch that last turn. And tackle does not reasonably ensure that the 2+ dodge will fail. And again, reiterate, it's very easy to make mistakes on agility teams. And it's very easy to point them out when you're not playing the game. But don't get disheartened. I think agility teams are very difficult. Or even if you're playing a bash team and then you're forced into a position where you have to make an agility-esque play, it can be very hard to figure out what's right. Yeah, this feels like it should be 2-2. Grillsy, I don't actually play Skaven. I've played against a lot of Skaven, and I've played against a decent amount of... What else? Blitz! I understand how the score may not have happened now. Yeah, I'm not playing this match. I'm just commentating over it. Are we one-turning? Did I miss something? I didn't hate the one turn. There's a almost natural one turner here. I'm not a fan of all the vanity. If you're going for the fast score, don't take the vanity. You're already gonna get 3 off the touchdown if all goes well. The rats could just keep slamming the ball in at this point if they played a little more conservative on their vanity passes. And there are definitely games where you can do this level of greed with the vanities and get away with it and be fine. But I don't think those games are against Wood Elves. Like, you wouldn't do this... Like, I wouldn't do this level of vanity against a Ratmere. I wouldn't do it against Wood Elves. You could probably get away with it against Chaos if they're not super developed. Developing Nurgle. Khemri, maybe. I just think that the fast elf teams are way too dangerous to do it against, though. Assuming that you care about winning more than development. If you do not care about the win and just about the development, that changes a lot of things. But, like, I'm generally going to give advice as if you're trying to win. Trying to sack the one turn, the rat, so it can't one turn. Kislev is also dangerous. Good point. I don't know. I think that at this point it seems like exhaustion in the gameplay. Like I feel that, you know, you get tired in a game, you don't, or you've lost a lot. You just kind of at the end of it. Because I think the turns have just gotten a little more and more confusing. This definitely just looks like an exhaustion finish for both of them. We're not seeing how long these turns are taking. They could be thinking really hard, you know. So many ones, so many dub skulls on both sides. And I'm still surprised this isn't a score, even with this war dancer coming in with a jump. Yeah, I think that if you're going to move up, you definitely want a better screening piece. And you definitely don't want it against the side where it can just be knocked off. Usually when you're over here, you want to have your player with the ball on the third line if you can manage it without exposing yourself to too much risk. And then what? Just like a failed pickup? Or a failed handoff? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, that should have been a tie. Some funky stuff going on each side. Storm Vermin with Mighty Blow definitely did a lot that game. I think mainly Raptor exposed the ball to a lot of risk most of the game that didn't have to happen. Yeah. With such a player advantage, you can just force it down the middle, and they can't cover both sides and the center. I agree. Galava spreading the wisdom of Skull Nirvana. I'm interested to see some of these block dice, because rats were mostly fine. There actually weren't a lot of skulls. They just all happened at the same time. And dice seem a little wonky, but not nothing too crazy. And nothing super crazy. Failvana, yeah, I've heard that song. And here it is. And Titus College match coming in. Let's see it. I'm excited. Straight sine wave and Titus, the entity. And this is from the college season from yesteryears. So we'll keep that in mind. Bring up all skills. Oh, what? And Titus is playing humans? What a shocker. Oh, this is the last game of the season. Minotaur bought just for you. I don't hate the Minotaur. I will say I actually really enjoy my Minotaur. You're a bit nervous and da-da-da. So, did this game decide if you went to postseason? Because if it did, that would also be great information. Because if you need a win here, it definitely changes how you play. Oh, you're already out? Okay. You still like winning too, though. So, there's a Mighty Blow Claw Beastman, Minotaur, 2 block warriors. Yeah, I bought my own Minotaur against against Lizard team because I needed an 11th player and I needed some strength. And he's done some good work for me in a lot of games ever since then. Granted, I've lost to that Lizard team 3 times and it's going to be 4th in a couple weeks, but Paul will have his reckoning. One of these days, I will beat him. Strength 6 when you blitz, though. Minotaur Strength 6 blitz. Really good. I definitely respect not re-rolling the Ogre hit. Yeah, yep. Definitely running your catchers down the pitch without any protection. They're going to get based. They're going to get punched. And even once you retrieve the ball, it's going to be very hard to get the ball to them. So some of your fastest, most important pieces are very exposed. Dodge is a good skill, though. Minotaur gets to Frenzy. Ogre stands up. Might be able to develop a 1-die here. But even red dice against people bigger than you with block is essentially a 3+. So if both down is acceptable on red dice, it's basically a 3+. Slightly better. Yep, that's a very good 1-die. Minotaurs on the ground are awful to deal with. It's a 50 to stand up, or you commit a block. Which honestly here, committing the blitz to it would not be terrible. 50-50 stand up succeeds, makes it a little bit hard. Catchers are caught way out of position. They're being split off from the team. They have no support. But they are blodgers. So they had that going for them. No tackle. Very few hitting skills. Yeah, this was the last week of college, so the Chaos not having tackle isn't too surprising. There is a difference between the Minotaurs. Chaos Minotaur has mutation access on normal rolls, whereas the Chorf Minotaur does not. Chaos Minotaur can be arguably really good. Chorf Minotaur is arguably always awful. Like, I think if the Chorf Minotaur was cheaper and didn't have access to mutations on normal rolls, I think it would be fine. But it's too expensive to not have access on normal rolls. Because your Minotaurs, you want to give them Claw, because Claw Mighty Blow, and you want to give them Tentacles, because Tentacles on a Minotaur is really good, because they never lose their tackle zones. Yep, Sage has another good point, especially with how TV efficient Chorfs usually are. They've got Dwarves. Dwarves are nice and TV efficient for what you get out of them, and Bull Centaurs are amazing. And they're actually kind of cheap for what you get out of them. Whereas, like, Chaos, you're going to bloat up as Chaos. So if you're going to bloat hard. And bloat with really good skills and such. I do everything in my power to do so, Ratchet. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. I will address it as soon as I possibly can. Now, I do, real quick here, something to point out, is these Chaos Warriors are getting out of position because you had split up your catchers, which is really good, because these Chaos Warriors are several turns out of the play, because they can go to, like, right here without GFIs. And they have like 2 turns to get over to the sideline where you are. So these 2 Chaos Warriors are out of position. This Chaos Warrior is based by your Ogre. This Chaos Warrior's basing your catchers, but it is what it is. And this Beastman is kind of out of position. He's 2 turns away. Whereas the human strength is almost all in the same area. So this actually wasn't poor results, but there are ways to achieve this without doing the run the catchers down bit. This was mainly a result of the Chaos player probably not being in this situation before. Aggressive use of the Claw Mighty Blow, aggressive reroll. That's going to be a hit on the Claw Mighty Blow now. Yeah, the wild animal succeeding almost every turn so far is pretty rough. Follow there, you get another hit on the Claw Mighty Blow. If you can remove that, it's massive. It's really good. That's so good. And it's very sunny is another important thing to note. Passing is harder. That was a good idea. Free up the catcher and you create a lot of space for yourself. Sunny is very sneaky. I have definitely not realized it was sunny and thought I had monitor issues because my screen got like weirdly bright and dark at the same time. And then you go for a pass and you're like, why is this a 4+? Or you just click it real fast and don't notice it's a 4+. Definitely have done that. In Challengers Cup. Greeting SPP. 100% I've done that. That was a bit of a risky frenzy, but it freed up a surf. So I actually think that was fine. That was a moderate risk, high reward. I do think I would have based the thrower, though. Because humans suffer from 1 in 9 syndrome. So if you make them roll a bunch of dice, eventually they'll fail and make you happy. But yeah, the Chaos have recovered here and made this a very difficult score. Minotaurs, when they decide to cooperate, are very oppressive. Like, if you see, like, Soundwave has committed been forced to have, like, 3 players on this Minotaur the entire game so far. It's turn 5. These 3 players have been stuck. We're at 1 removal versus 1 removal, was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, they both have a bench of 1. The wild animal working again. Being a nuisance. Really getting tight in on the humans. Trying to minimize the block dice. Strength advantage, but down on the block advantage. Soundwave actually has the Mighty Blow advantage now that the Claw Mighty Blow is out. What skills do you give a Chaos Mino? Typically, you give him Claw first, unless he rolls a double. Then you give him Block. Your second level, if you haven't rolled a double, you give him Tentacles, unless you rolled a double on the first one. Then you want Tentacles, Stand Firm. If you roll another double, you can go either Blodge Firm or Tackle or pro? Probably pro or dodge, depending on what you've already rolled. Pro is also pretty solid, just because Minotaurs have a lot of stuff you would like to reroll if it fails. And going from a 50% chance of moving without blitzing to a 75% with pro is really, really nice. The main thing with Minotaurs is they are a little bit of a project piece. Their main advantage, in my mind, is claw and tentacles. And you almost need to go claw for their first level if you don't get block, so that they can level fast enough to get your tentacles and try to get block and that sort of stuff. Yeah, I think that I agree with you a lot. Definitely the Chaos could have collapsed harder on the ball. Perfect scatter, though. You know, this is actually... It's really impressive that you win 1-0, seeing the board state here. Bonehead happens. You know, you can't reliably use your big guys unless you're unless you're the Chaos Minotaur. Okay. That was sad. Does the apple work? It does. Okay. That was a tragic block. That was a 3+ block that just didn't pan out. Like, it massive didn't pan out. That was really good for you. That was really good for you. Blodge is good. That was a turn. Is this an Ogre Blitz? Be an Ogre Blitz? Something turn ordering for sure. You got pieces to stand up and yada yada. And the Chaos had stuff to do before taking all of that crazy stuff, like protecting the ball better. Ooh, I like this actually. Hit the isolated warrior. Get everything all stuck. Armor break. What was your naming scheme based off of, by the way? Are they like sumo wrestlers? I'm uncultured. Oh, Mahjong. Okay. Yeah, I know just enough about Mahjong to be very confused. I know there's you can go pawn, Ricci. I know nothing else. We know you're uncultured. You play Chaos. That's fair. That's fair. However, I don't have a claw palmer. I went jugs. I'm a nice, respectful, reformed Chaos coach. Okay, this is the half you're most interested in. We'll take this nice and slow then. Okay, perfect defense. Perfect defense is really interesting here. You probably want to not base the Minotaur. Unbase from the blocks. You could get aggressive on the goats if you wanted, but that's still giving up blocks. But you could put blodge pieces there, maybe? Or you can just minimize contact. You still want control of the center. There's not too many ways to get this wrong. Slightly to the side, getting into some columns. That's not bad. Threatening the sides, playing wide. I like this. Yeah, I don't hate columns here. Got a catcher on the outskirts, able to wrap around. Minotaur's not doing anything unless you blitz. Reroll spent. Chaos definitely want to protect this sideline just a little bit. Wild animal. And what I'm seeing right now is there's a scoring threat, sure. This pickup fails. I would be threatening the ball here. Like, you can leave somebody back to deal with the scoring threat, but let's talk about what I'm saying. I would definitely like you come around here, gets a little bit of inversion, maybe base with a blodge piece. Get your ogre tucked in somewhere and really threaten this ball. But like maybe send 3 or 4 players. Yeah. Good. Stand them up. Nice turn ordering. Actually, you could have even dodged a catcher through here. Because that'd be several extra squares saved. You can do that at like the end of the turn and get your 1 and 9 on. Do so with the blitzer maybe. You have a good one, Sage. Actually, that's good too. I like hitting the Claw Mighty Blow. Not overcommitting. Taking a dodge, re-rolling it. Chaos is forced to defend backwards. You're going to get another hit on the Claw Mighty Blow. This is turn ordering. Definitely movement needed to happen. Because this is definitely... Bring more guys now. This is... You've got enough players in. You should bring more guys in. Base with the blodge. Nice. Take a 1-die hit. Pick up the ball. Yep, I like this. I think a little bit more could have been brought forwards. Like, even if it's just bringing the ogre into contact with stuff so it doesn't move. A nice screen here. Wrap around, screen here. Yeah, this is definitely a far higher level of play than I was at in college. I think, at least. I don't know. I've not looked at my college games since I've gotten decent at the game. Oh no, I know more backlog we can look at. I'm terrified. Okay, good blitz, but again, turn ordering. Move some stuff around first. Because that could have easily just been a failed blitz. Honestly, yeah. Humans are a fun team. I kind of avoided them for a good while when I first started playing, just because I thought they were going to be the vanilla team. But no, that's kind of orcs. That was a play, and that was definitely a reroll. Going down to 0 rerolls on that. The Chaos just really had bad turn ordering in this match. You definitely want to take your less risky actions first, including just moving without rolling dice. Oh, I'm not good at it. I just think they're fun. I'm definitely pretty bad with them. And I know I believe humans kind of rely a little bit on the ogre until they get more developed. Maybe get a dauntless on a blitzer, that sort of thing. These are non-essential hits. Yeah, and like this goat needs to come back and pressure. I think the Chaos are just assuming that they will recover the ball. And that's not a good thing to do. You definitely want to drop players back too early rather than too late. Big hit. Doesn't stick in a permanent way. But this is the last drive, so a KO and a Kaz are basically the same thing. Is that niggled? Oh, it is. Okay, that's a good hit. I am not sure how the ball gets scooped up here. Hey, Mighty Crab, how you doing? Do you scatter the ball here? I wouldn't hate it. But you could just pick it up on the blitzer with a POW. Reroll is fine. Yeah, I've not tried 2020 rule set at all. It intimidates me and scares me. And it doesn't function, it doesn't work like Blood Bowl 2, and I would have to do maths. Yeah. A crazy amount of rerolls blown. But that's baby Chaos and humans. And the blotch works. Yeah, Underworld getting gutters is terrifying. I'm assuming they get, like, what, 2? Oh, no, I believe it. I believe it. This was your last game of the season. I'm assuming there were very long turns going on. And now you're going to do spread defense or columns. Looks like columns are coming up. You just need to stall for a couple turns. No reroll Chaos. They might just never pick up the ball and make it look really easy. Yeah, I like the no more natties. I think that you should have to put in a little bit of effort for one turning. Oh, that's really good. That'll help you do it. Get some basing on. Check to see how the hit lands before overcommitting. I like it. A very common thing for early players or rookies is committing way too many players and during a blitz and losing because the ball just gets scooped up and handed off. Mighty Crab. Natties is referring to natural one-turners. So gutter runners with a movement up and sprint. That is no longer a thing in Blood Bowl 2020 because you cannot get to movement 10, I believe it is. 9 is the maximum. So you can get to 12 squares, but not 13. So you had to actually do chain bushes to one turn. Oh no, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. This is very good. Chaos did move bands back first. They should have done that the other drives, and they probably would have at least had a tie. I believe they can't get a movement plus if they have their maximum. So if they get a movement down, I think they can get a movement up, unless I'm mistaken. Yep. Then there is a scoring threat that you can deal with, or you can hard aggress on the ball. Honestly, stick the ogre over here. Bloop. Stick the blodge is good. I like that, actually. Stick the ogre as well. Put him like right here. You're just marking things. That's about all you gotta do. Getting the board all split up. That's what it's all about. I blacked out and played instinct-based defense. Don't agree with what's happening on the chaos half right here. No, I've been told that some of the other ones are funnier. I just took the vanilla one for today. Handoff. Now blitzing through with the chaos warrior. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In scoring range. Go and mark it, yeah. Nice no dice action. Push frees up a player. Good, good. I didn't hate that. I like that. And then this just fails without rerolls. It's what I'm assuming occurs. Yep. Ugh. Reliving past trauma with Tenho. For a level. Not quite. For a good hit. Not quite. I don't know if you foul here. That'd be kind of funny. Fair enough. Goes for the vanity, gets it. You're good. You're done. You're like, I won. I want my players. I want my happiness. Level to thrower. This was like the villain arc origin story. Ooh, Vlador. Fling CCL game. That would be a reward that would make me sad. We will consider it. I will, you know what? I will make a reward for Fling CCL game. So I will do that. Let me write that down. Should have sent your mixed game. Mighty Crab, we already watched your game. Funny enough, we went through that one. Let's see. I do believe that was everything on the docket, though. Oh, the Mixed Teams League. Yeah, no, that was a really solid game, especially when you were in college. Like, that was far better than I was playing. I should, like, bring up the games where I got dumpstered to show, yes, it happens to everyone. And start talking about, like, games from, like, last week as if they were done in college. Make myself look better. But again, I do think that's everything I had. So we're going to see if we have anyone streaming in the Rebel community at the moment. Kikengrad. Don't think I've interacted with them. Oh yeah, absolutely. I will definitely put it on. I'm going to do as many college matches next week as I possibly can that get sent in. Oh, we have Falconmerk streaming. Is he... Yeah, so we'll raid Falconmerk. So, thank y'all for stopping by, having fun, chatting it up. Send me in your replays if you want them looked at next week. Encourage other college students to send them in if they're feeling self-conscious about their game. Go nice and easy on them. I'm going to hop off, and y'all have a good one.